Story time, friends. So I get a lot of people coming in here looking for some help with their projects. They've made a mistake, they're not entirely sure how to recover from it. And as part of the conversation around that, a lot of people will say to me something along the lines of, gosh, I bet you don't make many mistakes. Nothing could be further from the truth. So I want to share a little story with you about my most recent one and to show that we all do this. So this is the beginning of a hat that I'm making. It looks a little weird because it's only partway done, and it's also inside out. So like the stitches are all okay, but the fabric itself is way too dense. It's very, very thick. It's kind of hard to stretch it out. And so thinking about what I was doing as I was making this, and I'm taking it apart. As I was making this, the pattern itself said to use a 5mm needle. Okay, so tip number one, the needles in a pattern is a suggestion. It is not gospel. But I took this as gospel and I got out my 5mm needle and I cast on with a yarn that actually says, and I'll show you a tip for taking things apart too. So I'm using a yarn that its recommendation is a 5.5 through an 8mm needle. All right, so a 5mm needle is going to be, it's just going to be too small. And I'm knitting away and knitting away, and I'm thinking, this is really, really tight. Perhaps I should check gauge. And I get distracted. So I never actually checked the gauge. And then I got up to the end of my yarn, and I was doing the bind off and thought, this looks a little weird. And friends, I had both, I use interchangeable tips, and I had one 5mm tip, which we know is too small, and a 4.5mm tip. Needless to say, I'm taking this apart. I will try it again with a bigger needle. I will check the gauge, and I will double check my needle tips. Friends, mistakes come in all shapes and sizes, and none of us are immune. Have a great day.